on to tonight's topic of conversation, how making our home life as VI accessible as possible. So we know that accessibility at home is going to look a little bit different for everybody, depending on a myriad of things. So someone's level of vision, their age, their any other needs they might have, family setup, all that kind of stuff, where you live, what type of home you have, is all going to impact, your accessibility at home. So we are going to try and do quite a whistle stop tour this evening, of some really practical tips, tricks, and signposting of things that can get you thinking on how to make your home environment a bit more accessible for someone with a visual impairment in your family. We've looked through the questions and the topics that you've submitted during registration, and we've tried to make it as comprehensive as possible, bearing in mind that we've only got an hour, and we were just chatting before we got online just now that we could probably make a whole conference out of this topic. So we're going to try and keep to time, and try to cover as much as we can in the time that we've got. Joining us tonight to talk about this very important topic is our lovely panel of speakers. So I'm going to hand you over to them in a moment. But just to introduce them first, so I'm really thrilled to welcome Emma Williams, who is an independent living skills teacher at New College, Worcester. Abby Reddington, a VI look mentor and an occupational therapist. And Carol Prescott, who is a HAB specialist with extensive experience in habilitation and rehabilitation with children, young people and adults. So really, really lucky to have these lovely ladies on our panel this evening. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to stop talking in a second and hand over to the really important people. So I'm going to hand over to Emma to tell us a bit about you and get us started with the first couple of topics, please. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So my name is Emma Williams, as Ellen said. I am blind myself. I've been blind since birth, and I feel, well, I hope really that I can share some of the lived experience I now have at the ripe age of 46 with other people who are blind or have blind family members, to try and ensure that we can make things as accessible as possible within in your home or for that individual. So I am married to my husband, who is also blind. I have a son who is sighted, but we don't hold that against him. And as Ellen said, I am part of the independent living skills team at New College, Worcester. So my main role is to work with our 16 to 19-year-olds. And my job is to carry on from any living skills program that they might have had either in lower school, if they've been with us, or if they've come in from elsewhere. And my job is to try and equip them with the skills to go on to whatever they want to do next, and to try and give them confidence and help them to think about their own self-advocacy in moving on, so that they can live independently. So this evening I'm going to talk about self-care, and then I'm going to go on and talk a little bit about entertainment and leisure activities. It's a little bit of a whistle-stop tour, and if there's anything that I miss, please do pop a question in the chat so that we can then try and help you later on in the session. So firstly, I'm going to talk about cleaning teeth, because I know that cleaning teeth can sometimes be a challenge. It's a challenge trying to get sighted children to clean their teeth. But some encouraging things that you might want to be thinking about doing with them. So if your child has got some vision, you might want to think about using different coloured or different shaped, even different shapes, I think is the more important one, toothbrushes. So if you buy different brands, they are going to be different shapes. A an issue that cropped up quite a lot, I find, is people knowing how to get toothpaste onto toothbrushes. So there's a couple of different ways that I would recommend for doing this. One would be to use a pump for toothpaste. You can buy the pump style dispensers, or the other way would be to give your child or young person their own tube so that they could then squirt a tiny bit on their tongue so that they are actually feeling how much is coming out. You know, we always say about the size of a pea. Hopefully, you know, if they eat peas, they'll know what the size of a pea is. Pop it on their tongue and then put the toothbrush in their mouth, so that then they can pop it onto the toothbrush. Another way might be, if you're not sure how well they might be cleaning their teeth, is to think about maybe using some mouthwash, and this might be something that you think about with an older child. In terms of making sure they've got good coverage, I think it's about using lots of describing words, thinking about them maybe using their tongue to feel around their mouth, feel their teeth, what needs cleaning. Okay, I'm going to move on to showering. Firstly, being able to identify products. So, if you have shampoo and conditioner, let's say, that are in very similar bottles, then maybe put an elastic band around one, and not around the other, or a bump on one. Um, Another problem can often be the amount that comes out the bottle. So I would recommend that you put the products or buy the products in a pump bottle so that you can talk about how many pumps, one pump, two pumps, to make sure that they're using the right amount of product. Often getting shampoo in eyes is a real problem, and it then can put them off actually wanting to have a go at washing their own hair. So I would recommend using like a toweling sort of headband that can go around the head, so it's in front of your hair on your forehead and going around underneath the back of your hair, and hopefully that will then soak up some of the shampoo and stop it from running down into their eyes. In the bath is quite a better way, because you can get your head back further if you're in the bath rather than in the shower. Quite often in the shower, that's when there's more issues in terms of shampoo going in eyes. Think about drying in a methodical manner, working from the top down. Get them to think about what their skin feels like. Does it feel wet? Does it feel dry? Also, something around their head, like you can buy hair wraps that you can put around their hair, which also will help then take some of the water out of the hair. Whilst we're on hair, I thought I'd chat just a little bit about hairstyling. Girls in particular, but obviously not girls exclusively, may have long hair, and they get to a stage where they're very keen to be doing their own hair. So I would recommend starting on something like a styling head, so they can practice brushing the hair, bringing it together into a ponytail, because it's easier to do it on somebody else than it is to do it on yourself. So practicing and getting the idea on a styling head can sometimes help. Using things like donuts to make buns, and plaits can quite often be the hardest. And sometimes we'll look at when I work with the students at work, we'll look at plaiting things like wool first, or something like that, that's a little bit easier than actual very fine hair. Dressing. So moving on to dressing, it's something that can be a struggle, especially when you're in a rush in the morning, trying to get ready for school. So things like buttons, I would say practice at the weekend. Even the actual practice of getting dressed. When maybe at the weekend you've got a bit more time, look at laying out clothes in order, so that they know what's going on next. And having that little bit of extra time to practice when nobody's stressing can make life a little bit easier. Sorry, I've just lost my place. um, Using things like labels, or not all clothes now have a physical label in the back, but sometimes they have tactile writing, and if your child can feel for that, then that can help them then to know which way round something goes. Also thinking about buttons, or maybe something like a school polo shirt being on the front, that can help. Also buttons on something like trousers or skirts. Another option is the pen friend. If you have a pen friend, there are washable labels available that you can then put in clothes, and you can record up to an hour on a pen friend label. So you could record what that item is. You could record what colour it is. If you're working with older young people who are maybe thinking about going off to university, you might record colour, you might record how that item needs to be washed, you might record on it what it goes with, as well as maybe thinking about pairing them together on a coat hanger so that you know that the clothes you're wearing works well together. Shaped buttons sewn into the back can help. Identification, and different shapes can be used for different colours. But also a button in the back, or just a slit in the label with a small slit with a pair of scissors, could help your child identify it's their clothes when it's time for getting changed for PE at school. Because, as we all know, sometimes, the clothes get mixed up with other children. So if there's a tactile way of them being able to identify their own clothes, that might really help them. And it's also helping them with a level of independence.
Emma, I'm just popping in to give you a time check.
Oh, really?
Already?
Already?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll try and speed up. I do apologise.
No
Okay.
worries.
Start with large buttons or toggles if you're looking at practicing something like that. It's worth starting with something large buttons, large buttonholes, and work your way down then to those smaller buttons that you might have on a polo shirt, or a school shirt. Zips, it's easier to do with their coat on, and try and start with a large zip. And if they need it, if you've got a child who maybe has issues with fine motor skills, then think about attaching something extra that's larger to that zip, so that they can they can grab hold of it a lot more easier. Laces can be a big issue. For children who really struggle with laces, there is something available called Hickeys, which are available on Amazon. They come in many different colours, and they are basically elastic laces that, rather than you tie them up, they have a pull toggle. So you pull the toggle down to tighten up the shoe. If you are going to look at doing laces, then I would recommend the rabbit ear method. And there are lots of videos on places like YouTube that show you how to do the rabbit ear method. It's easy also to do it with the shoe when it's on. Okay, so moving on now to thinking about periods. So this is, I suppose, for slightly older girls. I would recommend showing them lots of different products so that they know what is available and what is out there. So looking at towels, at tampons, period pants, and actually having the time before period starts to actually have a look at these products, and let them have an explore, and let them have a play. Maybe put a pair of pants on over a pair of trousers so that they can practice putting a sanitary towel into a pair of pants, and show them how something like a tampon works. Put it into a glass of water so that they can see what happens to it and how it actually works. At the moment, period pants, I believe you can buy a 3-pack for £8 in Aldi in the middle aisle at the moment, which is quite a bit cheaper than anywhere else at the moment, like M&S. I think it's important that it's done before their period starts, so they basically feel less daunted by it when it starts. Okay, moving on to leisure, and I'll do this very quickly. I do apologise. So I'm going to start with television, and I'm going to talk about audio description. So audio description, basically, it's a script that is read between the action of the programme, any verbals in the programme, to give someone who is visually impaired some idea of what is going on in the silent parts of the programme. It's found on many platforms now. Sometimes not all programmes within a platform will be audio described, but we find that a lot of content on Netflix, Disney Plus, now the Amazon Fire Stick, and on terrestrial telly, we're getting more and more things that are audio described, and especially on children's programs as well, on things like CBeebies and CBBC. There are tellies available now where you can turn on in the settings for the menus to talk. Sky Q, if anybody has Sky Q, it can be quite useful that you can set up audio description, so you can turn it on by using the voice button where you can speak to it, so you can turn audio description on or off. They also have what they call voice view, where basically you can access the menus, and it has a basic text-to-speech system for you to be able to access recorded programs and so on. Disney Plus and all these kind of apps can also be accessed on iPads, also with audio description, and that can be useful sometimes when somebody needs to be really close to the screen. Okay, so oh, sorry, lost my place again. So live audio description happens on telly sometimes now as well. Some people will know that we Strictly Come Dancing, the last 2 series have been audio described, which has been absolutely amazing, especially when we had Chris McCausland on it last year. Okay, so audio description in the theatre. Vocalise is a charity that goes around theatres and art galleries and audio describes shows. Quite often they will also set up touch tours, so you can go on the stage beforehand, get to feel the set, get to sometimes meet some of the cast, and meet some of the to see some of the costumes, etc. I was lucky enough to go and see Hamilton last weekend, and got to meet some of the cast, etc. So that was really good. You can sign up on the Vocalise website to then receive a list of audio described performances around the country. I think I'll leave it there because I obviously don't want to take up time for other people. So thank you very much for listening.